On the line Saturday night is the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship. And a very important part of that undisputed factor is the prestigious Ring Magazine Championship belt. So here to present it to Alexander Usyk for the first time, please welcome Mr. Tom Gray from Ring Magazine to make the presentation.
On behalf of the Ring Magazine editorial board, we hope that Alexander is honoured to hold this belt as what we are to give it to him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night here in Manchester, another great night of boxing at one of the great arenas here in the world for championship fighting. Now, what makes people want to pluck down their money for Sky Box Office and for the DAZN subscription? Compelling fights. Fights that are meaningful. Fights that really make a difference. Fights, and this fight in particular, the type of thing that comes from a Hollywood screenplay. You know, one of the most prestigious titles, as I recently said at a press conference, was the Heavyweight Championship. But in the world of boxing, to all fighters, the most prestigious thing you can have is all those alphabet belts, to be the undisputed champion. And that's what we have Saturday night. On the line, the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship of the world. An undefeated champion versus a fighter who has announced his retirement after this fight, a fighter that's come back time after time against all odds. What will happen Saturday night? It's right out of a compelling screenplay, and it's the type of thing that fans want to see. So here to tell us more about it, please welcome Mr. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing.
Thank you, Michael, and I couldn't agree more. This fight, the biggest fight, the best fight, I believe Matchroom Boxing have ever promoted. The creme de la creme. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Everybody who loves sport, everybody who loves boxing, this is the pinnacle. The undisputed Cruiserweight Championship of the world. The opportunity to say, you are king. These two great fighters, we currently have the king of the division in Alexander Usyk. After 15 fights, already the undisputed champion, owning these 4 belts, and of course, this fantastic Ring Magazine belt as well. And to our left, we have one of the greatest success stories of British boxing. A man that has refused to give up and has come back and has won British, Commonwealth, European, world title belts, and now sits on the cusp of, like Michael said, a true Rocky story to become the undisputed champion of the world on Saturday night. A genius here and an incredible fighter to my left who talks about the potential of this being the last one, of there being peace after Saturday night. But as we all know, before peace must come war. And on Saturday night, I promise you, one of the most gripping, compelling fights you have ever seen in this country. An historic moment, the first ever undisputed fight in British boxing history. And we are incredibly proud with K2 as well, our partners in this event, to bring you a very special moment for the sport of boxing. And now, to ask the fighters a few words before we talk to Dave and Alex and Aegis as well, I'm going to pass over to one of our broadcasters this event, live on Sky Sports Box Office and streamed live on DAZN in America, our host broadcaster, the head of boxing for Sky Sports, Adam Smith.
Thanks, Eddie. I just want to send huge congratulations to Alexander Usyk for picking up another belt. Have a look at that. The treasure there, 15-0 and 5 incredible belts in front of him. I wonder if Tonie Bellew will be taking those 5 back on Saturday night. 1 for Rachel, 3 for the boys, maybe 1 for Dave as well. Let's ask him. Tony, firstly, training camp has been long, grueling, hard. First time in a couple of years you've got to make the weight. Are you feeling as strong as you ever have in your life and as confident ahead of this almighty challenge?
I'm always confident, Adam.
It's been a long camp, yes. I've been very diligent in the way I prepare. Making weight is not an issue. Alexander faces the exact same problems as I do when it comes to making weight. Me and him are very similar in size. We are basically heavyweights who have to make weight. This is the modern day system, and by moving the weight category to 200 pounds when it used to be, I think it was 186, that's what that allowed. It allowed the smaller heavyweights to come down, so it's not an issue. I've shown what I can do at heavyweight, and believe you me, I will show even more what I can do at cruiserweight, because I am only faster, sharper, possibly even stronger at cruiserweight. But I go in here, and for the first time genuinely in my life, I feel like I meet a man who has exceptional skills, an exceptional amount of talent. He has everything I have besides that one thing, and that's the fact that I can switch someone's lights out within 1 second. And I don't care what he says, what his team says, what anybody says. I've had that ability since I was 12 years old. I learned it at school, and I'm still carrying it right now as a grown man. I can turn people's lights out with the blink of an eye. It's never happened to him before, but it could happen to him on Saturday night. Either way, I'm going to find a way.
Tony, people forget you had a terrific amateur career. You've shared the ring, both as a professional inside and under the lights, and in sparring with some great fighters over the years. Is Alexander Usyk the best, in your opinion,
yes,
that you will ever share a ring with?
Yes.
Why?
He is the ultimate test. There is nothing this man cannot do, Adam, in a boxing ring. He's the most complete fighter I've ever faced. Everything he does is class. Listen, before this fight was done, I've always been a fan of Alexander. I've had friends interview him. He's amazing at what he does. If I wasn't fighting him, I can promise you right now, I'd probably be sitting in this audience as a fan of his. So, like I say, not for many fighters are as honest as me, but it is what it is. I think he's a fantastic champion. I remember my time in Ukraine, and he hadn't yet captured the likes of the European gold medal, the world amateur gold medal, or the Olympic gold medal at this stage. But even then, everybody knew on that camp who he was. Everybody then knew he was an exceptional talent. Him alongside Vasyl Lomachenko. Glavatsky was there as well, the heavyweight who I was sparring. They're just the quality fighters. He's a brilliant fighter. I have nothing bad. I have no disregard towards this man. I just have to beat him up on Saturday or find a way to do the impossible. I want to tell you how, I really do, and I want to just blurt my mouth out and say, but then for once a little man next to me could probably beat me up now at this stage, so I'm going to just keep my mouth shut and say the only chance I have is a puncher's chance. I cannot outbox this man. He is a formidable opponent. He has everything that any boxer could possibly want, and even worse than that, he's an audible southpaw. So he's great. I have no bad words at him. I know it's unusual for me to sit at a press conference and give someone so much credit, but there is nothing I could say, or I'll be honest, I wish his English was a bit better. I know he's bullshitting me a little bit. He does speak better English than he's letting on, but he doesn't speak good enough English that I can have banter with him back and forth and I can get him going. So I would have if I could have, I'm not going to lie. I do like a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately I admire him. Fantastic champion. And I'm happy this fight's happening. This is the most significant fight in cruiserweight history. It's the richest fight the cruiserweight division's ever seen. And you know who brought that to the table? I did. He brings the hardware, I bring the money. Never ever forget that. I've generated something that no one could ever see for me before it. Nobody cared about me when I was sitting on the floor in Canada as a failed light heavyweight, and I told the world that the reasons why it happened the way it happened. No one cared about me after the crazy Cleverly rematch, and everyone said it was terrible. Tonie Belliew's crap, he's this, he's that. No one listened, no one believed. You know who did believe? A couple of people sitting here with me, the family at home, me team around me, my father, Gary Disley, my wife, my kids, they all believed. Every one of them believed, and look where I am now, and that's what belief can get you. I've failed many times, but right now I'm about to take the greatest step of possibly any British fighters ever took, and I'm going to do it on Saturday night.
Just finally for now, Tony, I know tactics are top secret. You've won your last 10 undefeated since that night in Canada. How worried are you that this last fight that you've gone on record and saying, you've told Rachel, you've told Dave, you've told Eddie, you've told all of us, it will be the last one on Saturday night. How worried are you about a final failure after so much recent success?
Do you know what, Adam? We all fail in life. Now, I have failed on a greater scale than anybody probably in this room has ever failed before. But you know what? I've also reached greater heights than most people in this room have ever reached before. And to reach the great goals, you have to take great risks. And sometimes they go wrong. Make no mistake, I can lose on Saturday night. If he's as good as everyone thinks he is, and as good as everyone says he is, then I could lose Saturday night, no problem. I've got no problem with that. But what would have haunted me much more was if I would have stayed retired. And then when he calls my name with all them belts around his waist, I just walk away. That would have haunted me. That would have haunted me. And it would have, I can't even think about doing it. So I made the phone calls. I made it happen. Yes, I can lose this fight. Not many people say, well, yes, I can. Of course I can. He's very good at what he does. Do I think I'm going to lose the fight? Absolutely fucking not, no. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to stop him. I'm going to break his heart. And you look in my eyes when you say that, and I tell you now, mate, no, every single person will believe when I'm saying it. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get the monster. It's time to let a monster catch a monster. I'm telling you now, mate, I'm going to find a way. As good as he is, as great as he is, he's meeting someone with something inside him. I can't even put it into words what goes through my head. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I just know I'm going to punch him in the face really, really, really hard on Saturday night.
Alexander, welcome again to Britain. Fantastic to have you over here. How excited are you finally after your long training camp in the Ukraine? And thank you for letting us over to experience that. How excited are you for performing and defending all of those belts in Manchester here on Saturday?
Приветствую всех собравшихся,
Hello everyone,
команды.
teams.
Я очень вдохновлен, мне очень нравится атмосфера, которая происходит в Англии, в Манчестере.
I'm really inspired. I enjoy the atmosphere here in England and Manchester.
Я реально когда-то себе мог мечтать о таком, побывать в Англии, просто побывать, даже не том, чтобы боксировать, а в субботу я здесь буду боксировать.
Many years ago, I was dreaming about England, about visiting England. I couldn't even imagine that someday I will be fighting here in Manchester.
Я такой довольный, как маленький ребенок, который получил киндер-сюрприз.
I'm as glad as the small kid who received the Kinder surprise.
Thank you.
Well, we're really pleased to have you here as well, Alexander. How dangerous is Toни Bellью as your big challenge?
Да, очень опасный парень, ростом как я, весом как я, злющий. Смотрите на глаза на его. Конечно, опасный.
He is really dangerous. Look at him. He's the same height as I, the same weight. And look at his eyes. They're just angry.
Toни says that you're by far the best fighter that he will have ever shared a ring with. Do you think Toni Bellew is the best you've shared a ring with?
Совершенно верно, на данный момент да.
Definitely yes. Toни is my best opponent ever.
Thank you.
So what do we see on Saturday? Tony's predicting a war. It's his last fight. I think everything will be put into it. What about from your side?
Что мы видим в субботу? Тони говорит, что будет война, потому что это его последний бой, и он положит все, оставит в ринге. Ты со своей стороны, что будешь делать?
Я буду боксировать, я буду делать то, что я люблю, а люблю я боксировать.
From my side, I will be doing boxing, because I will be doing what I love, and I love boxing.
Самое главное, что и со стороны Тони, и со стороны моей будет желание проявить себя. Так что из этого получится очень великолепно красивый поединок.
The main thing from my side and from Tony's side will be to perform our best And that's why I think this event will be a really spectacular one.
Thanks very much. We can't wait.
Thanks, Adam. And a quick word now from the two teams. Firstly, I'll start with you, Aegis, long-time manager of Alexander. You've made some big fights in your time, and we know you've witnessed also the great atmosphere that big British events bring. Excited ahead of Saturday night.
Hello, Manchester. Very, very proud to be here, and of course, more proud to represent one of the best fighters in the world today, Alexander Usyk. As far as how big his fight is, we don't have to talk. We can see that here, right on the table. All these belts talks for themselves. So Alexander is going to be facing very tough opponent, Toni Bellью. I liked Toni Bellew as a fighter for a long time. I know I was watching him all the time. After his speech today, I like him well as a person. He speaks very highly and very professional. So I believe Saturday night we will see very, very good fight. It's the biggest fight I ever been involved, and I've been in a big fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Aegis. Alex, just a few words. I just want to thank you and K2 Promotions and Aegis as well. I can't believe that an undisputed fight has happened so easily, with no drama, with no tears, with no punches between the camps and the promoters. And it's been a joy to work with you and your team. Well, it is, yeah, we've got another 5 minutes. We all wanted this fight to happen. We all love this sport. And on Saturday, we get a very special moment for our sport and also a great, great fight.
Thank you, Eddie. Definitely, it was really a pleasure to meet you first and then to make it happen. It took us just 10 minutes to agree on all the issues, and I'm happy we are now here again in Manchester, speaking to media. And recently I have learned something special about the British fans. Never ever in my life I met the audience that is so deeply involved in sports of boxing. And just a regular fan knows more about their idol than probably standard journalist in the world. And that's really amazing. The crowd here is really unbelievable, is something special. Once Usyk comes to the street, people meet him, people want to take a picture, want to take his autograph, whatever. So that makes it amazing. And Usyk had a wonderful camp. He's here, ready to go. I saw Tony last night at the open workout, and you see him now. He's probably he used to have a good camp as well. So that means that Saturday night, just in a couple of days, endless days, but just in a couple of days, we're going to see a tremendous, tremendous fight. Probably the fight that might become the fight of the decade. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Dave, a huge moment for you and Tony, obviously. You know, we talked and we heard from Tony about the lows, and it's been an incredible run since then of 10 fights unbeaten and some great nights. Everton, of course, the two David Hay wins, and now on the cusp of doing something that very few do and making history, defining a legacy and becoming undisputed champion.
Yeah, I think you touched on it when you said about Toni Bellew. The story is a successful story already. You know, you look back all the way through his career, he was never supposed to be here. He was never supposed to be here, sat at this table with all these belts lined up, facing pound for pound one of the greatest fighters on this planet. He's made that happen, you know, through all the setbacks. Like you said, he believed, he put in the work. And I think it's a great advert to any kid that's out there, that's starting out, that's actively pro now, had a few setbacks, that just because somebody else is in front of you and somebody else is more talented than you naturally, and maybe things are working smooth from them there at the top there, you're grinding away, you're getting the setbacks. You keep working hard, you keep believing what you're doing, you can get there. He's at the top. This is literally the top table. You know, all these belts there, Saturday night, that's what he's going for. He doesn't have to. He could have walked away, like I said. He could have walked away. But then there are regrets. Saturday night there'll be no regrets. He's done everything that he can possibly to get himself in the best shape. He's done the weight fantastically. You know, I spoke with you before, and that was my initial worry when this fight got made, and we said, you know, it was at cruiserweight. It wasn't going to be at heavyweight. It was at cruiserweight. My initial worry was, I don't know if he's going to make the weight easy. He's made it. I can't believe how he's been so professional. He's done everything right, and the weight is fantastic. The weight is not an issue. And on Saturday night, you're going to get the best version of Tonie Bellew, and it's going to be the last version of Tonie Bellew.
Obviously, there's been a huge amount of respect
saying that like we haven't said it before.
for Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, but he keeps bringing it up.
But make no doubts, the two of you and the team truly believe that victory will come Saturday night. You know how hard it is, but this isn't about a tribute act to Alexander Usyk.
No, listen, the one thing that works is that we understand what's in front of us. We always have done. Every fight, we understand the dangers of what's in front. You understand what that man in front of you can do. I think if you go into a fight like this, any fight, but if you go into a fight, you know, the David Haye fights, Carbu's, him, with Usyk, if you go into those fights blind, thinking it's not as good as what they say, it's all hype, you're walking into a minefield and you're going to get the biggest shock of your life, because he is legit. You know, he's a great fighter. And when you understand what's in front of you, you can prepare for it. You can prepare, but we have to prepare for every eventuality. You have to prepare for losing rounds. You have to prepare for being outboxed at some stages. You have to prepare for every bit. You have to prepare for a dogfight. He's prepared for everything. Whatever's going to happen on Saturday night, he's prepared for. And this is why, when you look at extensively and you're studying fights, every trainer out there, they all know the same thing. They've all been in positions where their man's the underdog and their man's facing a much better fighter on paper than your man. No fighter's unbeatable. No fighter's unbeatable. There's fighters that are unbeaten. There's no fighter that's unbeatable. And if a man's lost rounds in his career, if a man's been hit in his career, he can be beat. And trust me, Bellew, it's hard enough to knock out anybody. It's hard enough to knock out anybody. His boxing brain's underrated. He can box with them. He can fight with them. But there's something inside him that you could never bet against him. And how many people have been out there and said that we've got no chance in this fight, but they're not going to bet against him because they've lost enough money in the past? You know, he's one of those guys that there's something inside him. That's why he's here today, and that's why he's got himself to where he is today. Regardless of what any coach has worked with him in the past, there's something inside of him that takes him to this level. And you can't train that, and that's what ultimately that's what's going to make sure that on Saturday night, all these 5 belts are going to go back home.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Alex, Aegis, and Alexander. And finally, Tony, one last word. This fight for you, not really about money, not really about crowds, pay-per-view. This is about, I believe, testing yourself. What is it that made you accept this fight? What does this fight on Saturday night mean to you?
I told everyone, and I was pretty adamant, this isn't about money. If I wanted money, I could have created a bit of drama with someone like, let's just say, Dylan White, a heavyweight. I could have done a gloves are off, I'd have rolled around on the floor and done 1 million pay-per-view buys overnight. That's just the truth, and that's the fact of the kind of numbers I can generate. And I would have earned double the amount I'm going to earn on Saturday night. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not fighting for free, not by any way of the means, but if it was all about the money, I would fight a much lesser fighter than Alexander and earn much more money. So I can put that to bed straight away. The reason I took this fight, it's the biggest challenge in my life. I always knew I could become a world champion deep down. I knew with the right scenario, the right fight, the right location, I will lift the world title. I did think also when I left the cruiserweight division, I was the best cruiserweight in the world. When I knocked out Lunga Makabu at Goodison Park, he was the WBC #1 for over a year. No one wanted to face him. Gregory Jaws pulls out. I come in. Alexander was still fighting 8 and 10 round fights at this time. And I done the unimaginable, and I knocked out another monster against all the odds. So when this one presented itself, I didn't ever think this would be possible. I didn't think boxing politics would allow it. I looked at the last time that a boxing tournament had happened, and that was Andre Ward with Michael Kessler. I think it was the Super 8, something like that. And what happened in that tournament, politics played a huge role. Injuries played a huge role. and the belts become fragmented, you know, distributed in different ways, and there was never really one face, one name, one champion. And I thought similar would happen at the WBSS, but it didn't. It all went to plan, and the man here became that one name, that one face, that one champion that every division needs in boxing, in my opinion. And now it's all at stake. And when he had all them 4 belts around his waist, the first name out of his mouth was me, which I couldn't believe. I genuinely still am shocked. I knew he knew who I was, but I didn't think I would be the first name out of his mouth. So I was flattered, but at the same time, believe you me, mate, I'd have fought that night in the middle of that bar on my honeymoon if I could have. That's where I found out he called my name first. So I'm here now, and I'm competing in a fight that I never ever dreamed would ever be possible, and that's what's got me up for it. I'm literally living the dream. I'm here fighting for the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and this little bad boy as well. It's unbelievable. From where I've come from, this was just a dream, an impossible dream. Even I thought this was way beyond me. I never thought this would ever happen. It's happening now. Alexander brings the hardware, and I bring the paper. On Saturday night, we're going to do an exchange. I'm going to give him all the paper he wants, but I'm going to steal his hardware. I'm telling you now. I got labelled the bank robber last time. Don't call me the bank robber no more. Call me the belt robber, because that's all I'm robbing Saturday night. I'm robbing all 4 of them belts, and I'm taking them back to Liverpool. Something that we never as a city, as a country, have ever even seen or dreamed of. No fighter from this country is ever going to do what I'm going to do on Saturday night. I'm going to do it. Believe you me. And you know what? Just so to give a parting gift, even after this is over, this fighter, he's going to go on and win a version of the heavyweight title. Mark my words. He is that good. So I don't want to hear no shit after this fight of, oh, he wasn't that good after all. He is that good. He's exceptional. But it's just styles make fights, and I'm going to prove that on Saturday night. I wish you the very best. I hope you're in the best shape ever, because Saturday night, we are going to go to war, believe you me. Blood, everything, I will give it all. But I only wish you good and success. You're an amazing fighter, an amazing champion. But Saturday night, my friend, you're going to learn how to lose.
Accepted.
Thank you. Again, an honour to be up here, an honour to be promoting this fight. We thank you for your support, not just today, but in recent times in British boxing, that's enabled us to create fights like this, moments like this. This is what we live for. And Saturday night, we're going to have a great night. We wish both camps the best of luck. May the best man win, and the winner will be king of the division on Saturday night. We're going to have a head-to-head, and both guys and camps available for interviews. Thank you very much.